Hello, this is Richard Bryant from Cantian, and this is our second video looking at IBM security, specifically exit point management, or access point, as some people like to call them as well. We're looking at Odbc activity, and how do you control that? How do you audit that? How do you put in place rules to enable you to specify what's allowed and what isn't allowed? This is using the controller, Cilasoft Controller product, which we love because it's very easy to implement, so our customers get benefit from it really quickly. It's economical, not only because it's easy to implement, but the licensing model is very economical as well. So we're able to install that for customers on every one of their IBM partitions without any additional cost. So this is a deep dive video. If you're technically minded, then continue watching. We're going to look at how rules are set up, how the product can be put in simulation mode so you can see the impact of those rules prior to actually impacting anything for real on production. And you can see how granular you may go in order to specify your rules. So you can make sure you can do exactly as you need to, as appropriate for your environment. And most importantly, do that in such a way that is not going to take up a huge amount of your time every day. So enjoy, and if you'd like to get more information, a one-on-one discussion, one-on-one demonstration, then just give us a call or drop us an email. Thank you very much.
So to simulate Odbc, I'm just using Access Client Download Transfer. So I am still downloading the same file within the same library. So just click Transfer, connecting using the same user, GM. And okay, so my file has been downloaded. So let's go back to my GUI, and I press just F5 to refresh my screen. And then now I'm able to see two new transactions. You see the Odbc logon and the Odbc request. Let's click on the logon one. So the Odbc logon is very similar to the FTP one that we see previously. You see the IP address, the username as well, and some additional information, same thing, about the client, about the type of connection. So this is very interesting because we know it's coming from IBM Access Data Transfer, which is a very important information. For example, you could have seen another client name, so you could also trust some transaction coming from some clients versus others. For example, you could stop. We have customers that prevent downloading files using Excel, for example. It will be clearly mentioned that it's Excel in that case. The status of this transaction is rejected, but in a simulation mode, so I was able to do it. Next one. So next one is the download itself. So underlying the data transfer, this is the SQL statement here. So it's a select. As you could see, just for your information, it's easy to recognize it's coming from Access Client because usually you have that information at the end. So this statement has been passed and resolved, and then same thing as FTP. We know the library, we know the object. So it's important for the future rules. Still the same, it's rejected in simulation mode. So now I would like to show you how the rules is working. So I will switch the simulation mode to blocking mode right now using the console. So let's do it. I'm just right-clicking, controller, work with points. Then here, just making a filter on Odbc, right? And then Odbc request. This is simulation yes, so I right-click on Odbc request. I set simulation no, right? And then I try again. It's blocked. So as you could see, it's real time. So nothing has been changed on the server job, fortunately. So there is no disruption on the application. So now let's take a look at, let's go back to the log and let's take a look at the rules. Right, GM. All right. So first comment, you see a little difference in the red. You see this red and this red, they are not the same, simply because this one is rejected. The previous one was rejected in simulation mode, right? From this entry, I can right-click on it and then add event to the list. There are multiple lists that are presented here. So these all are our rules. By default, controller is shipped with a configuration model. The configuration model is based on whitelist, which means that the points are rejecting by default, and then the lists are accepting and not logging. Of course, controller can completely be changed in the opposite, so working with blacklist or even having a completely customized configuration. Everything is possible, right? But usually to make your life easier, we would not ask you to go through all this list and say, okay, which one should I have to use? So we always calculate what's the best fit list for the transaction you are working on. So it's always the top of the list. So in this case, just use ACC DB2. Just click on it. Entry added to the list, we will see just next how it looks like. So, but now, since I have added an entry in the list, what would be the response of controller the next time this event will happen? So I can test my rule, test event, and it says that next time this specific transaction will happen again, it will be accepted by this rule. Let's try. Remember that we're in a blocking mode. Oh, fine, now I can access the file. So that's good. So I would like now to try, because it was for the client file, but the transaction file now. Doesn't work. So probably because the rule has been set up for this specific file. So let's take now a look at the rules, but just press F5 to see what we have been able to log. Okay, so now you see the accepted transaction by the rule. Okay, it was the client file, and the next one is the transaction file that is still rejected. If I just double click on it, it says accepted for this one, and the other one rejected, right? So now let's go and see the structure of this condition list. We call that condition list. So instead of adding or removing, just edit it. The same list, ACC DB2. All right. So this is the list itself. So the list, the structure of the list is composed by these information. The username, the first column, the library of the file name, a column named access, and the server name. Access is a generic value that helps you to say, to give read access to a file, or change in general, change access to a file, or any type of access to a file. % means everything, right? So you could say 0, it's a read access, 1, it's a change access, and %, it's any type of access. The entry we added just previously is this one. Let me check, this is this one. So it means that GM can read client file from ERP file library using the SQL server. And this is a command that has been generated automatically, just kind of a timestamp and the name of the user that have done this rule, but I can change it. Allow access to client data, for example. It's probably better to say read. Once again, this table is applicable for any type of access for your DB2 file. So imagine that you have just one table to control somebody that is doing a start SQL and a select on the file, somebody doing a data transfer or Java or even DRDA or whatever the type of connection, even an FTP that is going to qsys.lib will go through the file. So it's really a different approach. We are still using the protocol in the server column because it's very important to know what protocol is used to access the file, but it's just part of the rule. It's not the most important part, right? So that's one thing, one comment. Additional comment is the access column. Some customers, they prefer to be more specific versus just read or just change. So we can replace the access column by the function column. So you could see the get, the put, the select, the drop table, so the real function, and so you could be more specific and more granular. Another information also is about the username. So in this example, my column is just based on the username, but we can also have, of course, group profiles, supplemental group profiles, and even better than that, the concatenation of everything. So one rule can apply to the user or the group profile or the supplemental groups, if you like, of course. And we can have embedded list as well. So you can have a list of users that is embedded in the user column. It appears in pink color, exactly like this one. This one is just a list of files that is just put in the file column. So you don't have to maintain redundant entries in different lists. So you just have to maintain the list of your critical files in this sublist and then use this sublist in other lists. So this is how controller works in general. But as you see, you have the easy to use on a daily basis. So you just have this condition list to populate, and you have the power to completely redesign the engine of controller.
I hope that you enjoyed that piece that Guy recorded for us. Cilasoft Controller module is often one of the first areas that we'd recommend customers to address in improving their IBM security management. So if this video has ticked some of your boxes, then please get in touch with us, 03 9598 5592, or email us at info@kantianit.com, and our experts will be very happy to talk to you. Thank you.